Hello, and if it's not too early to be saying it, Merry Christmas! Welcome to the Christmas episode of Ukulele Tales, the ukulele podcast hosted by me, John Atkins, aka the ukulele teacher on YouTube. I hope you've enjoyed the first month or so of this podcast. I've certainly had lots and lots and lots of fun doing it, and if this is your first time checking it out, then welcome, and be sure to go back and have a good look through the archive. We're only a couple of episodes in, but already we've started, as we mean to go on, with a feature-length chat with James Hill, and since then we've had Bernadette Teaches Music, Tyler from 10 Thumbs Pro, and also a look behind the scenes at the Ukulele Kids Club, which is an incredible charity that does great work providing ukuleles and music therapy to sick children all over the world. But what with it being Christmas, I wanted to bring out the big guns, and it really doesn't get much bigger than this. Back in the summer, I was up at GNUF, the Grand Northern Ukulele Festival in Huddersfield, and I had the chance to meet up with none other than Jake Shimabukuro, and what a great guy he was. I know I feel like I've said this about just about everyone I've spoken to, but he really was just such an incredibly nice guy, and so humble. He was also incredibly accommodating. We'd been planning on chatting a lot earlier in the evening, but he was travelling across the country by car, and had basically spent most of the day stuck in traffic, not arriving in Huddersfield until gone 10 o'clock. However, he was still very, very happy to chat with me as soon as he arrived. He was such a warm person who really, really cares about the ukulele community. He was also incredibly knowledgeable about it, and was genuinely looking forward to watching and catching up with so many other players who were there that weekend. A big thank you to Jake's tour manager Brett for being so accommodating, and also a huge thank you to Mary-Agnes Krell, the head honcho of the Grand Northern Ukulele Festival, for making this interview possible in the first place. Just to let you know, I think it's perfectly listenable, but as Jake was just about to set off on a UK tour, he needed to wear a mask for the interview. So if it does sound ever so slightly muffled in places, that is the reason why. But like I say, I've cleaned it up as much as I can, and personally, I think it sounds just fine. I will be back in a bit to talk about your plans for Christmas and where the ukulele fits into that. But for now, here's part one of my interview with Jake Shimabukuro. So did you guys just fly in today?
No, but we drove up from Brighton.
Brighton?
Yeah.
That is literally the other side of the country.
Yeah.
Man, how long did that take you?
Well, it was supposed to take 5 hours. It ended up taking about 7.5.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's so much traffic.
Yeah.
It's because the weather's been so beautiful. You know, our
Yeah,
liaison was
yeah.
saying that it's, you know, everyone's trying to get out of town because it's so nice.
Yeah. No, same for me. Yesterday I came up on the train, and that was like a 6 or 7 hour journey, and it's just a nightmare. I don't know about where you come from, but in this country, if it's ever sunny, people just lose their minds and they want to do stuff. So yeah. So where did you come from? I mean, you're touring the UK at the moment. Where did you fly over from?
So I live in Hawaii, in Honolulu, and but prior to coming to the UK, we had a few shows on the East Coast.
Okay.
So in New York, so we actually flew up to London from Newark.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not too bad. 5 hours or something. Yeah.
So it was kind of nice, you know. We broke up the trip a little bit rather than going straight from Honolulu to London.
That would be a killer.
Yeah, we
wouldn't it?
kind of got to
yeah.
acclimate a little bit. You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. I didn't realize, because I've done a lot of traveling around the USA, and I didn't realize. I was like, oh, I should probably go to Hawaii while I'm in LA. How far can it be? And it's still like another 6 or 7 hours on the plane, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, about 6 hours.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so I guess you sort of became. I mean, you were doing well, but you became like super famous when your video of "While My Guitar Gently Weeps" became like a viral sensation in 2006.
Yeah, that was the catalyst, you know, for me that just kind of started a touring career for me, you know, because prior to that I was playing mainly in Hawaii, and I was playing in Japan, but not really outside of that. I signed my first big record deal with a Japanese label. It was Sony Music Japan, and so that's why I was spending a lot of time there. But it wasn't until 2005 when I was doing this. I was doing a show in New York City, and before the show, I had done a little interview for a local TV station for a program called Ukulele Disco. And this was in 2005, so YouTube was just starting out around that time. And someone had took a clip from this TV show and put it on YouTube, and it went viral. And that's what kind of opened up all these doors for me.
And you didn't know anything about it, right?
No,
yeah.
no, I didn't. Yeah, I was just very lucky, just fortunate, and in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, well, that's incredible. And since then, you've been recording and touring ever since.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. But you were making waves before then a bit. I mean, you said you were recording in Japan a lot and Hawaii. So how did you get started on the uke? Was it something from childhood or?
Yeah, my mom got me into it. You know, my mom played, and so when I was about 4 years old, she sat me down and taught me a few chords, and I just loved it. But also growing up in Hawaii, you know, it's such a big part of the culture, and you see it and hear it everywhere. So for me, it was just kind of a natural thing, you know, to want to pick it up and play it. And one of my biggest inspirations for playing the ukulele was a man named Ota-san. He recorded, I mean, gosh, I don't know how many records. I think he recorded like 80 records, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So, but he was really such a virtuoso, and he really inspired me to wanna to play it and to kind of push myself on the instrument.
Yeah, yeah. Because you do some amazing arrangements of songs. Like the Bohemian Rhapsody is one of my favorites of the things that
thank
you've done.
you.
No, it's really incredible. How long does it take you to arrange something like that?
Oh gosh, I mean it. You know, you kind of arrange it, and then for a period of time, it keeps evolving. You know, because the more you play it, you think, oh, well, maybe I can add this, or oh, I don't like the way this voicing sounds. I'm going to change this, or so you're always tweaking it. You know, I mean, even now, I mean, I've been playing it for several years now, but still, you know, there are nights where I'll play something and think, oh, I wonder if it would sound better if I did this. You know?
Yeah.
So, and that one was a little different. For me, the approach anyway, because I kind of wanted to stay pretty true to the original as far as like structure and things like that. You know, with other songs, when I'm arranging them, sometimes I am you know, I take liberties with the structure and the form, and you know, and as long as I play the melody as close to the original as I can, you know, at least once, right, for whatever section, then I'll take liberties, you know, with the second go around or the third go around, and try to do some just embellishments on it and all of that. Yeah, but with Bohemian Rhapsody, I tried to stay true to the harmony and the melody, and definitely the form.
Yeah.
And it's kind of neat because prior to the pandemic, it kind of became a kind of a sing-along, you know, during our shows and stuff. So that was kind of neat.
Yeah, it's funny you should say that, actually, because I was listening to it again just now, and I was sort of thinking, there's no way he can do this bit. Like, this guitar solo, he's got to skip that, or he's got to have to, like, sort of, you know, fiddle this bit a little bit. But you, like you said, you just keep the form 100%. It's really, I don't know, really special, actually.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, thank you.
You just mentioned the pandemic. I mean, I've been talking to loads of people recently, and I feel like it's hit a lot of people in the same way, particularly sort of performing musicians like yourself. How did it affect you? What has changed for you? What happened?
Well, it was, I mean, for just like a lot of other people in different professions and stuff, you know, like everything just got canceled, right? And in the beginning, I remember a lot of us didn't realize how long it was going to be. You know, we just thought maybe a couple months.
Right.
I remember that everyone thought that summer of 2020 we'd be be back at it already, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, but yeah, it's, you know, I think every family, every community, you know, every individual has had their own set of challenges, right? And but man, I'm so grateful to be back performing in front of a live audience again, having people come together, you know, through music. It's just been so powerful, and something I'll never take for granted again, you know, because I don't think prior to March of 2020 any of us imagined that, you know, all of these music events and festivals and things like that. I mean, of course, there's so many other things, but just talking about music and the arts, right? I mean, orchestras having to not be able to play their instrument in public, and especially like I remember when they were saying like people who play woodwinds and horns and like that,
Right.
they didn't know if they'd ever be able to play in an orchestra again, because of the breath and and the breathing that they have to do when they're playing. And singers couldn't sing without a mask, and it was like, wow. I mean, that's so heartbreaking for for a lot of artists that I mean, some people, they do it because they have to. It's not a job. It's not, but it's such a, that's how they express, right, themselves, and how they connect, with everything. So yeah, it was to see people kind of getting back and being able to perform again, but then also seeing music and art supporters and these audiences coming back, and you just see how emotional people get. I mean, our first few shows back, I mean, I remember after the first song, I just kind of broke down. It was just, it was so powerful. And as far as all the people I could see in the front row and the ushers, and I mean, everyone was in tears. I mean, it was like our first experience, coming back. And it's not just about the music. I mean, just coming back as a community, right? Coming
seeing
back,
other people again.
I mean, that's just so beautiful. So, so I'm excited. I'm so happy for Mary-Agnes and her crew and the whole Grand Northern Ukulele Festival, because they're back in person and celebrating music, celebrating the ukulele, celebrating this incredible community of people, this diverse people who just embrace the ukulele, and it's just beautiful to see.
No, that's great. So what did you personally sort of do during the ukulele? Were you recording or writing, or?
I was spending a lot of time in the studio. I have a little home studio, so I was doing a lot of recordings and kind of writing and things like that. But to be honest, I have two kids, right? So so we were doing a lot of homeschooling and remote learning, and so that was something that kept me quite busy, during the day. But it was I just I think it's I mean, having kids, you just try to do whatever you can, right, to protect them, keep them safe, and do whatever you need to do for your family. So so
how old are they? Sorry.
My kids are now 9 and 7.
Okay.
So but I think we're very fortunate, and I feel so fortunate to be here, and so just looking forward to to things getting back to normal, and we can continue to come together like this, and celebrate life.
Oh, terrific. What a great guy. And how lovely to hear some genuine emotion when Jake was talking about coming out of the other side of COVID, and particularly how important the ukulele was in bringing people together again. I've just remembered that when we finished the interview, and bear in mind, this must have been well after 11 o'clock at night, after we'd been in the car for most of the day, we were sitting in the hotel bar where we'd been recording, and a fan came up to Jake with a ukulele in hand and asked if he could just get a few tips, as he was trying to learn one of Jake's songs, and there were a few bits that he was unsure of. Well, Jake could not have been nicer to the guy. He listened to him play, critiqued him, and offered him advice about technique and everything. And he seemed like genuinely happy and excited to be doing it. I'm sure it made that guy's day, and it certainly made me realise just what a great guy Jake is too. Again, Jake had been in a car since first thing in the morning. He'd been stuck in English traffic for most of that time, and then he'd been interviewed by me. And then, when he'd be well within his rights to just want to go to bed and get some sleep, he starts giving a personal one-on-one masterclass to one of his supporters. Amazing. What a cool guy. So thanks, Jake, for sparing the time to speak with me here, and we will get back to part 2 of your interview in a moment. I just want to say very quickly that there's a few ways that you can support this podcast if you're enjoying it and want to see it carry on. Firstly, if you have a ukulele community or ukulele-loving friends yourself, please share the word and let them know about it. The more people that listen to Ukulele Tales, the easier it'll be for me to find sponsorship for the show to help it carry on going. Secondly, if you can subscribe so that the episodes download to your device as soon as they come out, that would be really great too. And if you're listening on a platform that asks for reviews or 5 stars or whatever it is, please try and give this show a little thumbs up if you can. And thirdly, if you really like what I'm doing and you want to support Ukulele Tales, then please take a look at my Patreon page, patreon.com/uketeacher, and sign up to support me just a couple of pounds or a couple of dollars a month if you can afford it. Only if you can afford it. This is a free podcast and I'd love for it to remain that way. But if you can spare a couple of pounds a month, then I would appreciate it. There will be a dedicated podcast here in the new year. But for now, whatever level you sign up at, you'll get all of the podcast stuff. And that already includes a bonus 10 minutes with both James Hill and Tyler 10 Thumbs, as well as other behind-the-scenes stuff that might drop as well, like polls or suggestions for future guests, or even the chance to ask questions yourself. So check out patreon.com/uketeacher and sign up for some great bonus content. As you might know by now, I love getting you guys involved in the show. And this week, I asked you where you're playing your ukuleles this Christmas. I'll be back after the remainder of Jake's interview to read out some of the answers you sent in. But for next week, I want to know, what are your New Year's resolutions? But we'll talk more about that later on. Right now, though, here's part 2 of my interview with Jake Shimabukuro. Yeah, you mentioned the GNUF Festival, which is where we're recording this now. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts about playing at festivals? Is that something you enjoy doing?
Oh yeah, of course. Oh, well, the thing I love most about the festivals is it brings there's a very intense energy, right? Especially when it's a specific festival like an ukulele festival. I grew up playing at the Roy Sakuma Ukulele Festival in Hawaii, now known as the Ukulele Festivals Hawaii. You know, they've been around, I think this is their 52nd, year doing it. But I played there when I was a kid. And what I love about it is it brings so many people together who just, players and non-players, but just people who love the instrument, right? So when you're around people that share the same passion as you, it's very infectious. It's such a positive, there's such a positive energy, and it's kind of like, I guess like I don't know, like anything else. Like if you love comics and things like that, you go to Comic-Con or any kind of convention where it's something that revolves around something that you're very passionate about. To all suddenly be thrown into a room or a community with people who share the same passion, it's so exciting, so I love being here. I love everything about the festival, and I love just hearing all the incredibly talented musicians that come and share their gift, with everyone. So, and the nice thing about this festival is it allows even the artists that are performing, it gives us the opportunity to kind of hear everybody too, because a lot of times you play at festivals, and if you're an artist playing, you kind of do your set and you don't really get to see the other musicians, but the way that GNUF is set up, you have the opportunity to experience everyone's performance. So that way, you don't only have the experience as a player, but you also have the experience as an audience member. Yeah. And sometimes that to me is even more inspiring.
So is there anyone you're looking forward to checking out this weekend?
Oh yeah, so there's Taimane Gardner. She's from Hawaii as well, so I'm looking forward to her set. She's so gifted, such an incredible player, but also just a wonderful composer and performer, writer. So looking forward to her performance, because I know she has a new band with her that she hasn't played with before. Andy Eastwood,
right.
He's just amazing, so brilliant. His technique is just so incredible. So I'm looking forward to his show. Phil Dolman will be playing. He does just he's so diverse, right? Such a diverse player, plays all kinds of music. Who else am I mean, there's so many people. I don't want to leave anybody out,
No,
but yeah, but definitely, you know, just everyone that's performing. Yeah, I'm hoping that PD Mac will be is here too. I'm not sure if he is,
I
but
don't think so this
you
year.
know, but he usually leads all the jam sessions and the sing-alongs. So yeah, so hopefully, Peter Luongo.
Oh,
too.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
he's so
yeah.
brilliant, man. I mean,
Yeah.
he's just such a, you know, what he's done for the ukulele too, especially in the ensemble type of performance, and you know, he's just so fantastic. So yeah, so it's a nice kind of a nice for a lot of the performers. I know it's an awesome, you know, reunion kind of get together for all of us to catch up and see each other, and I'm just really looking forward to it. Like I literally just got here like not even an hour ago.
Yeah.
So we just arrived, and so I ran into a few friends, but I'm just looking forward to catching up with everyone tomorrow.
Great. It's funny you mentioned Phil Dolman and Peter Longi. They're both doing workshops here. They're both sort of teachers as well as performers.
Yeah.
Do you do much in the way of teaching?
I will be doing a class while I'm here, but yeah, but I'm so green compared to them. You know, they've been doing it so long, and you know, like doing workshops and things like that. You know, it's very new to me. I mean, I used to have a school, but it was years ago, and it was back in, when did I had a school back in 1999, I think.
Oh, wow.
2000,
yeah.
You know, and that's because I love teaching. I love, in fact, before I even thought that I was going to go into making music, you know, a profession, or go into it professionally, I thought I was going to go into education. You know, I didn't really have the confidence to be a musician. So I wanted to go into education because I love working with kids, and I thought that the ukulele would be the perfect instrument to use in the classroom, you know, to kind of inspire the kids or keep them engaged. So I always knew that I would be playing because it was my passion, but I just never thought that I would be able to make a career of it.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. So I do love being in a environment or a setting where I have the opportunity to kind of try to teach something, or try to, especially like, I love working with beginners, like people who've never touched the instrument before, because, you know, especially people who don't think they can play the ukulele.
Yeah.
I love being able to sit with them and teach them something simple, and then they find that they can do it, and then just that, how they light up, and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm actually playing, you know. So I love that feeling. It's so fulfilling and joyful, and I remember that because that's the feeling I get every time, you know, I pick up the instrument, you know, especially when I'm working on something and I can't quite do it, but then that moment when you can do it, and it's just, you know, that joy that you feel.
Yeah, that breakthrough.
Yeah, it's so wonderful, you know. And just the feeling that you get when you're able to play an instrument. You know, I mean, it's one thing to listen to music, and it moves you and impacts you in such a tremendous way, but when you're actually able to hold an instrument and play it and make the music yourself too, you know, there's something else that happens that I think is, you know, can have, I don't know, just a lot of benefits, you know, whether it's for some people, maybe, you know, emotionally can be very healing, you know, mentally can be very stimulating, can help to relieve whatever stressful day you've had. Physically, it's just good for your body, good for your fingers, keeps your fingers nimble, and I think socially too, the one thing that's nice about ukulele players is they have a tendency to want to play with other people who play the ukulele, right?
Yeah.
So you have a lot of these ukulele jam sessions that you don't see very often with with other instruments, unless like it's like an organized thing.
Right.
But with the ukulele, it's very informal, very casual. But you see people getting together all the time to play, and they form their own clubs and their own societies and organizations, and then they use their community and resources, to do amazing things in the community, whether it's like going to the local hospitals and playing for the kids, or playing at senior centers and things like that. And so it's been such a common theme that I've been experiencing, in my travels and going to all these different cities with all these different ukulele clubs. It blows me away, and it's humbling, and I just love seeing that.
Yeah, amazing. So just completely changing the subject. One of my Patreons was messaging me the other day, and they told me that they had one of your Shima ukuleles.
Oh.
Yeah. Is that something? And I actually had no idea that was something you had done, or you and your brother were doing. Is that something you're still sort of working on?
Yeah, it's more my brother's project, but it was something that he had started, and he always wanted to kind of make ukuleles. And for me, I do a lot of I work with a lot of nonprofits, and so one of the things that I like doing, because of my connection with the ukulele, I love using the ukulele to to kind of help support, right, other nonprofits, whether they're music oriented, or even like I've had the opportunity to work with like the Autism Society of Hawaii, and you see how ukuleles just kind of help these kids, and these just incredible. I mean, it's like it just helps them to come out of their shell, and it makes such a positive impact, on them. And then also working with like the local libraries, in Hawaii, and we started up with a friend of mine. He has an organization called Music for Life. So we were able to start up an ukulele lending program in all the libraries across the state of Hawaii.
Oh, brilliant! Yeah.
So like those kinds of things, it allows me to.
How are you doing, guys? Okay?
Oh yeah, we're doing good.
Yeah,
thank you. It allows me to use these ukuleles, to donate, right, to these organizations so that they can use them, for their cause. And so it's been great. I've been partnering with my brother on that. He's been very supportive and helping me, with these things. And I don't know, there's just something about the instrument, I think, that just makes you want to do something positive, and do something good. So that's been really nice. Months later, recorded Stardust live, and it was like the second take, and that was it.
Oh wow!
So that was the first thing we cut, for this project.
You recorded it live. So
yeah. Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So everything was recorded live. The only two that wasn't recorded live was John Anderson, because it was during the pandemic, so we had to record remotely.
Yeah.
And Ziggy Marley.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, and Jimmy Buffett. Sorry, those three. Yeah, those three, and then everything else was all recorded live, and they're all live takes.
Wow, that's amazing.
So,
yeah.
We tried to do it like old school style. You know? Yeah.
That's incredible. And you've also done some collabs, not just on that album, but with other people as well. I met the guy at NAMM about 2 weeks ago, Vince. I can't remember the name of his band, but you did the Led Zeppelin cover.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, he's from Hawaii. I mean,
yeah, right, of course.
Yeah, Vince and I know each other from a long time. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
he's amazing. He plays in a band called Kanekoa.
Oh, that's it. Yes. Kanekoa,
Yeah. So when they were working on their new record during the pandemic, he called me. He was like, "Hey, would you, record on one of the tracks?" I was like, "Yeah, of course, sure." So we recorded. They sent me. It was a Led Zeppelin tune. So I played over that one, and then and I think the album's out. So,
yeah. He actually gave me a copy of it on CD.
Oh, okay,
but
nice.
I don't have a CD player.
Oh, yeah.
So I haven't really heard it yet.
Who has a CD player?
Exactly.
Nowadays,
Yeah. But that's great, and that's one of those things I would say, sort of unlike Bohemian Rhapsody, where you're sort of playing it like note for note, kind of. That's one of those songs. I honestly, when I heard it, I didn't even realize it was a cover. I was sort of thinking there's something familiar about this song, but I can't place it. And then I was like, oh yeah, of course, it's the Led Zeppelin song. But that's one of those ones where you sort of completely gave it your own take, your own sort of feel.
Yeah,
on it.
they just, they really, they're so, they're so creative. Like I love their arrangements and things like that. They do an amazing job at taking a song, and then delivering it in a way that I think captures, their essence and who they are, right, as a group. So it's so it was great. So we couldn't record it live together, because it was during the pandemic as well. But so they sent me the track, and I was very similar to you. I listened to it. I was like, oh, wait, is this the song I'm thinking of, right?
Yeah.
And
I was like, I sort of recognize it.
Yeah. So, but yeah, they change up the groove, and it's kind of got a neat little, almost like an island vibe to it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, just a few more questions then, if that's okay, and then we'll sort of wrap it up, I guess. Have you got any advice for players, people starting or people playing at the moment?
Oh, yeah. I mean, gosh, there's, I guess it just depends on what you want to do. But my biggest thing, like whenever, I work with people that are learning the instrument, I always just tell them, just enjoy, have fun when you're playing, and I always like to be very intentional, right, with everything that I do. So, like when I pick up the instrument, I try to be aware of like why I'm picking it up. It's like, am I like right now, like when I pick it up and playing, am I just playing because I just want to relax and just kind of like, just kind of want a little escape, right, from whatever's going on, or am I picking it up now because I'm trying to learn something, I'm trying to work on something, right? Or, so just be very, very intentional, because I think that helps. And then when you have like a goal in mind, or if you know what your intentions are, then when you put the instrument away, you feel like you accomplished something.
Yeah.
And that always makes me feel good. So like if I pick up the ukulele and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna work on holding this one chord where I can go to it, quicker and not trip over my fingers, then by the end of that practice session, if I can do it better than I did before I picked it up, I feel good, right? Or if the goal is, or the intent is just to pick it up because, I just need a little getaway, so I'll pick it up and just play. And then at the end of that, if I feel better, I'm like, oh yeah, I feel better. Then when you put it away, you're like, oh yeah, that was great. I feel much better now. So I think just be very intentional, with what you're doing.
Brilliant. Okay. And do you have any thoughts about like the ukulele on social media? Things like TikTok and stuff. Do you think people really can learn from a sort of 15-second video? Do you think it has value? Do you do it yourself? Do you like it?
Yeah, no, I think so. There's a great advantage to it. Like when I was learning ukulele when I was a kid, I mean, we didn't have these things, right? And so, so it was tough to figure out how to do stuff. And I share this story with people because, like usually when I perform like a flamenco inspired piece, I talk about Carlos Montoya a lot because he was a huge inspiration for me. He was the legendary flamenco guitarist, and back when I used to listen to his recordings, it was on a cassette tape. So I would play the tape, and then I would hear like this percussive, I'd hear someone playing percussion, and then I would hear someone strumming the guitar and someone picking the guitar. So because I was just listening to the recording, I didn't have there was no video of him doing what he was doing. I thought Carlos Montoya was a three-piece band. Right. So I thought there was someone playing percussion, someone strumming the guitar, someone picking the guitar. So in my head, I thought these were three separate people doing this. And then later on, someone told me, no, that's just him. He's doing the percussion thing on the body of the guitar, and then he's strumming, and while he's strumming, he's picking, like all this stuff. So when I discovered that, then the image in my head completely shifted. Right. Yeah. And then I started trying to imagine, like, whoa, how is he doing that? With his hands. So that's when I started trying different things, with my hands to capture that sound that I was hearing. But then later on, much later, I saw a video of him. I saw videos of other flamenco guitar players, and I realized, I'm doing the strumming all wrong. That's not how they do it, But you just kind of find your own way. You hear a sound, and you're like, what's the best way that I can try to emulate that sound, right? So you do different things with your fingers. So in retrospect, if I had seen a video, or if there was YouTube back then and I could see a video of him playing, right, and doing what he's doing, I probably would have been able to learn that a lot quicker.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I hadn't thought of it like that. Yeah.
So I think that, like these like things like YouTube and the internet, I think it's an awesome resource, for people to learn, I mean, gosh, most songs now, if there's a song that you want to learn, you can just look it up on the internet, and there will be a video that'll show you exactly how to play the song or the riff or the lick, whatever it is. So it's pretty incredible. I mean, you just have you have such an incredible resource of teachers and knowledge and information, out there on pretty much anything you want to learn, even if it's plumbing or basic carpentry or something. Yeah. So it's awesome.
Brilliant. Okay, so last question, I guess, Jake, is what's next for you, and how can people follow you? How can they sort of stay in the loop with you?
Yeah, I just we're getting back to touring again and doing shows. So I've been, during the pandemic, I started a lot of projects, like a lot of new recording projects that I didn't quite finish. So I'm going to try to finish them, because we started touring again. So I couldn't finish a lot of these projects. So I'm trying to find that balance now. So now that we're back on the road, when I go home, I try to spend some time in the studio. But I think I have like 3 or 4 records right now that I'm working on at the same time, whereas before it was only working on one album at a time, right? So I think I have like these 4 projects right now that I'm trying to juggle, and but I'm so grateful to be playing, and touring again, because it's my passion is performing
in front of an audience.
I love that connection, because it's a rush, right? You can't the feeling that you get when you're in a room full of people who are sharing this experience with you, like that energy, there's a synergistic thing that happens, and you can only get that, when you're in a group setting, right? Because you kind of elevate each other, right? So that's what I love, because in these concert settings, I'm able to feel and experience something that I can't get on my own, and we can't achieve on our own. So, and that's the power of live music, live concerts, and so I'm just so thankful to be able to experience that once again.
Yeah. And how can people stay in touch? Is it a Twitter or a mailing list or Instagram or something?
Yeah, so I have a Facebook page and a Instagram page and even a TikTok page.
Oh, you do have a TikTok?
Yeah,
excellent.
yeah.
Okay.
So I try to put as much content out as I can, but it's hard to keep up sometimes,
Yeah.
But yeah, it's fun. Every once in a while, when I think of if I come across something that I think, oh, maybe somebody might enjoy this, I'll post it. Yeah.
Cool. Jake, thank you so much. It's been brilliant. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Again, what can I say? Just an absolute pleasure. Thank you, Jake. And thanks again to Brett, his manager, and Mary-Agnes Krell of GNUF for making that whole thing possible. And how about that? Jake met the Queen. That's pretty cool, isn't it? I wonder if any of my other guests can say that. I actually have a feeling that one of them can, but we'll be finding out more about that in the new year. Talking of the new year, I want to ask you a question. What are your New Year's resolutions for 2023? Are you going to resolve to play for 20 minutes every single day? Or perhaps you've decided you're not going to buy any more ukuleles. Maybe you're going to set yourself the goal of performing live, perhaps by entering a talent show or playing at your church. Let me know what you've got planned for next year, and I will read out some of the best answers next week. Again, you can find me anywhere: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course, the best way to get in touch with me is a DM on my Patreon page, patreon.com/uketeacher. Last week, I asked you where you would be playing your ukuleles this Christmas. Personally, I ended up taking my ukulele down to the Moorland Road Community Library in Bath with the Bath Ukulele Group, and we played about a dozen or so songs for the locals. This was my first time playing with the Bath Ukulele Group, as I've only just discovered them, but it was so much fun, and it was also really exciting to see an actual community library, which apparently was completely set up by and is still ran entirely by local volunteers. Listener Jane Lapper said that she teaches a small group of pre-teen ukulele players, and they played their school Christmas concert last week. They were stellar, Jane says, and they played Meli Kaliki Maka and Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. So well done to Jane, and well done to your ukulele players as well. Deborah Jo Painter says that her local uke group have been really busy too. They played at a gift fair on Sunday. They were lunchtime entertainment for 2 teacher conferences last week, and this Tuesday they were planning on serenading commuters at the train station. So it sounds like Deborah's had a busy festive season with her ukulele, so I hope she gets the chance to put her feet up at some point over the next couple of days for a bit of R&R. Carol Goodman said her group, the DeMuggs Pugs, great name by the way, have been incredibly busy this week, playing at the Hungerford Methodist Church, the Bowls Club, a dog show, basically anywhere else that people will put up with them for more than 10 minutes. And Sue King says the same, saying that her club played at a local home for the elderly and also a local Christmas market. It really does seem to be the busy season for ukulele clubs, doesn't it? Personally, I'm only just sticking my head out of the parapet again for the first time properly since COVID, but I hope by this time next year I'll have a few more uke events in my diary, particularly as I had so much fun playing at that community library the other day. Anyway, that just about wraps it up for this week. I hope you enjoyed the chat with Jake Shimabukuro as much as I did. There will be another episode of Ukulele Tales next Wednesday, and again, please remember to let me know your New Year's resolutions. Until next time, I just want to wish you and your families and loved ones a very, very Merry Christmas. And until next time, I love you all, and I wish you the best.